Hello and welcome to another Doctor's Assistant 1 video, and today I'm doing a Doctor Who comic book review. As per usual with these things, it feels like a long time since I've done a Doctor Who comic book review on the channel. So yeah, I think, what was the last one that I did? I think it was either the first issue of the 10th/13th Doctor crossover one, or maybe before that, or maybe it was the 13th Doctor Holiday Special comic issue. I don't know, but it's been a long time, so again, if this video is a bit naff, blame it on that. But yeah, what was I going to say? Yeah, I adore... Oh, and before I forget, it's the 16th of September of this recording, and this is quite a monumentous review and thing to be looking at, because it's the first time that I'm officially reviewing and or going over a Time Lord Victorious Doctor Who product. Yes, the Time Lord Victorious thing that was like announced sort of mid 2020 and has now just sort of just happened to, you know, it's just started now. It's kind of mad. You know, couldn't have happened at a worse time really in the world, when not many people have much money. But yeah, put that aside, I adore this cover by Lee Binding, I think it is. And that where you've got, you know, the 10th Doctor in the sort of Gallifreyan, battered, worn, torn, you know, sort of Gallifreyan attire, but he's still got the suit on. He's got his Sonic, he's got, you know, the sort of battered nature of the sort of End of Time Part 1 and 2 look, which is kind of weird because Time Lord Victorious is set just before End of Time Part 1. Before that, but after Waters of Mars, and then yeah, he's got all this sort of battered stuff. You've got M'gann there as well, in this new sort of light bluish jacket, I think. You've got some lovely Daleks, red and silver, silver and blue there, and then you've got the 9th Doctor, Brian, I think his name is, the Ood, Rose, who I still think that's maybe the moment, because you've also got Daleks, and you've got these other warships there, and yeah, I mean, it might actually not be the moment, actually, thinking about it, based off the inside of the comic. Obviously, this will be, spoilers will ensure and or be part of this review, sorry. If you don't want this issue spoilt for you and you want to come into Time Lord Victorious sort of spoiler free, please do not check this review out. But if you've got this issue and you've read it, and when you have this issue and have read it, please do feel free to come back to this video and then watch this review. What was I going to say? Yeah, you've got a bio on the Dalek Emperor, Strategist, the TARDIS, the 13th Doctor for some weird reason. So I thought she was going to be in this issue because she's in the bio thing, but she's not. The 10th Doctor, and then previously, and that. And then you've got, as per usual, Titan Comics website, Twitter and Facebook to contact them and give them any feedback. I adore the fact that they've given us the lovely timeline of Time Lord Victorious. So, you know, September, and then it's all colour-coded as well down at the bottom. You know, you've got live experiences, UK only, unfortunately. You've got merchandise, audios, books, comics, and magazines. So you've got all this, which probably most of you watching this review have probably already seen this sort of infographic and or picture online. So I won't go into too much detail about it. But yeah, I really enjoyed like some of the panels, like this big wide shot of the 10th Doctor TARDIS. I do really like, I have a massive soft spot for the 10th Doctor TARDIS. I prefer how it's lit in the 9th Doctor era, but I do just generally like it. I like it because it was the first TARDIS that I saw. I am probably blinded by nostalgia, and I like it a lot more than the current TARDIS, which is kind of weird because again they've gone with a more sort of organic look in the Jodie Whittaker one, but there's something with that one, it feels a lot more cheap. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm older and I can kind of see that it is just a set as opposed to when I was a kid. Obviously watching Doctor Who for the first time, this didn't feel like a set. For me, I felt like it was actually a sort of time machine. It's kind of weird, the TARDIS looks like it's on fire and that, but then there's no real panel where he's like shooting out the flame. Just sort of goes, I guess. It's kind of weird. But yeah. But yeah, there's another panel that I really like where we have the Doctor. Where is he? There he is. This sort of shot, this sort of side shot of him with the spiky hair. And yeah, I think whoever wrote this one, I'll get onto that in a minute, but I think really understood the mannerisms and the characteristics of the 10th Doctor and that. I love the Dalek design, like both the sources really took me back to sort of early sort of again sort of RTD vibes with this, you know. It felt like a really good mesh or mashup of sort of the best bits of the RTD sort of funny comedy, fast-paced epicness with the creativity and nuance of maybe some 1960s Doctor Who stories, you know. And the Dalek Emperor looks like the Dalek Emperor from the sort of 1990s comics, so that's quite interesting, because obviously I only know him from the TV show in the 1960s image of the Dalek Emperor. Obviously I've not seen that one in particular, but that one and then the Dalek Emperor from Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways are the only two Emperors that I've seen, and obviously the one in the Ninth Doctor one I've seen actually seen, if that makes sense, like actually talk and do stuff and that. So I was quite interested to see this Dalek design and that. I don't dislike it, I actually quite like it. I like it as a one-off, unique sort of expanded universe-y thing. I mean, if they had to bring the Dalek Emperor back and they did this design for whatever reason in, say, the Jodie Whittaker era, I wouldn't be opposed to that, but I would prefer the Dalek design or Emperor design from the Bad Wolf Parting of the Ways, but that's just because nostalgia on my part. What else? You've got a lovely sort of wide shot of Skaro, which I like the fact that they've very much taken it from inspiration from Magician's Apprentice, which is familiar. Even though I'm not a massive fan of that two-parter, I love this sort of two-page spread of Skaro and that, and just some of the artwork is very stunning. I love like the Dalek Strategist, this one's called, I think. Let me just have a look. Yeah, the Dalek Strategist. I love this one because he looks like an old version of like Rusty the Dalek, you know, like a 60s Dalek but Rusty, you know, but like Rusty the Dalek, you know, instead of a new bronze Dalek and that. And I quite like that. I've just thought with the sort of older sort of Dalek design colour scheme wise, with the sort of silver and blue spheres and that, maybe that's why, spoiler alert for this, but maybe that's why this is set pre-Time War, or in a timeline when the Time War hasn't happened. And that, because, like, that's why maybe these Daleks look like this, because I'm pretty sure every Dalek that's in the Time War is the new... In any Time War material has always been the bronze and the golden bronze Daleks, whereas pre-Time War it's always been different coloured Daleks, you know, like the sort of gunmetal grey ones, the Genesis, Resurrection, Remembrance, or the white and gold ones of like Remembrance. But yeah, so I quite like that. I quite like his person. He kind of oozes a bit of a personality and a character, you know. And as I say, the 10th Doctor has quite a bit of banter and a bit of dialogue. And yeah, there was another shot or panel even early on that I really like this one where it's like really far away and they're in dark and the shadow is probably going down on them, but they're in black now with the blue spheres, so they look like the Dalek Supreme from the old 60s Dalek serials and that, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's just the 10th Doctor being the 10th Doctor. He's very witty, very charming, dashing, you know. It makes me feel very nostalgic for this old Sonic as well, I'm not going to lie. Like, I like how Jodie makes the new Sonic, but I'm not too keen on the new Sonic. I think it's more just the overuse of the Sonic in her era more than anything, and the fact that she, like, extends it like a wand. Although, to be fair, in Series 12, I'm pretty sure that gets toned down. But yeah, I'm not sure if we've had these Daleks designs in action figure form. I'd really like them as like actual action figures, not just like Eagle Moss figurines, but yeah, love the sort of background detailing and work of like the Dalek ship and whatnot, and I love the fact that the Dalek text as well is in this sort of very sort of etched sort of, you know, blocky-ish sort of different text. Like they are, like you get that sense even from the typography that they're screaming, that they're angry, that they're frustrated, whereas the text for Tennant, I know the 10th Doctor in particular, is just very much, you know, sort of normal black text where he's just like, you know, just milling about, chilling about, talking about art or the Temple of Doom, and the Dalek being like, this is not a temple, this is a whatever it is, you know, and him being like, yeah, but it's a movie. Do you not have movies? Oh yeah, Daleks don't have movies. And even if they did have movies or art, it'd be about exterminating people, you know. But yeah, I think if you're wanting something new from the 10th Doctor or the Daleks, I think this would be definitely a must-have for you. I think if you're kind of, yeah, wanting something new from either the 10th Doctor or the Daleks, then this is definitely a must-have for you. And yeah, I really am intrigued to see where it'll go next. Shame that it's not coming out until next month. And that, but yeah, as I say, it's the 16th of September, this recording, so to be honest, the next issue isn't too far off, really. And again, I love the sort of standard cover here by Lee Binding and that, and I'm not sure, the variant covers look pretty cool. The story is by James Goss. The overall, I think, Time Lord Victorious sort of thing, written by that person, the artist, the colorist, and then, yeah, letterist, editor, senior designer. So we have all these lovely people to thank for this really cool, really interesting, you know, well, I wouldn't say pre-Time War, but like alternative timeline sort of story. It's kind of funny to think that, like, yeah, normal, for lack of a better term, normal DC and Marvel comics do sort of parallel Earth, parallel timeline stories a lot, whereas for Doctor Who, that's, at least in the main show, quite a rarity, that they do parallel Earth, parallel timeline-y things. Well, actually, it's more common in the TV show, but it's less common in the comics, I feel like. And that, yeah, this is one of those times when they've finally done a sort of a timeline where, spoiler alert, the Time War hasn't kind of happened, and that, I guess, and it is quite weird, and all that's referenced is that there's this weird paradox thing that's happened, and that. So I am intrigued to see how this will fit in with the book, or the Doctor Who magazine comic strip, or, you know, the comic strip with the Ninth Doctor is a Ninth Doctor comic strip, so does that happen before this then, I take it? Because I'm pretty sure Rose is in that, and they're in the Dark Times there, so, which would be way before any of this, I would assume. But yeah, so I'm really intrigued with the whole Time Lord Victorious thing, what it'll be like, and overall and that, and yeah, as I say, if you want new Daleks, new Dalek content and new 10th Doctor content, this is probably the comic book for you. So yeah, thanks for watching, please do comment, rate and subscribe.